Okay, quick question. When you think of America's founding fathers, who pops into your head? I'm guessing Washington? Jefferson? Franklin, maybe? But what if I told you there's another founder, a seriously pivotal figure in the fight for freedom, whose story has been pretty much left out of the history books? Well, today we are going to uncover the incredible life of Prince Hall. Yeah, this quote, "It's time to tell the whole story." That really gets right to the heart of what we're doing here, doesn't it? It's not just a nice saying, it's a call to action. It's a challenge to all of us to realize that the history a lot of us were taught, it's an incomplete picture. So, you know what? Let's start telling that whole story. All right, so let's dive in. First step, America's incomplete history. We've got to look at the story we think we know. The standard narrative of America's founding. It's a powerful one, for sure. But when it comes to the story of Black Americans, well, it's like a book with some of the most important pages just ripped right out. And this right here, this perfectly illustrates that huge gap in our understanding. On one side, you've got the common narrative we all know. Black history pretty much starts and ends with the story of slavery. But the fuller story? The real story? Oh, it's so much bigger than that. It shows that Black Americans were actually co-architects of the nation's foundation. And look, this isn't just some boring academic exercise, right? This stuff matters. Uncovering these stories has a huge impact right now. It restores this incredible legacy of nation building. It connects that historical knowledge to our cultural identity today, and honestly, it just creates a more truthful and complete version of American history for all of us. Okay, so we've talked about the big picture, the problem. Now let's get specific with a really powerful example. It's time to meet one of these founders that history forgot, a man named Prince Hall. Just look at this timeline. It places Prince Hall smack dab in the middle of the Revolutionary era. I mean, really think about that for a second. He was a contemporary of Washington, Jefferson, Hancock, all those guys. He wasn't just sitting on the sidelines watching history happen. He was actively shaping it, fighting for freedom on his own terms. So who was this guy really? Well, Prince Hall was a free man living in Boston. He was a property and business owner, a taxpayer, and a voter. On top of that, he was a patriot of the American Revolution, a leading abolitionist, and just a man of incredible influence. I mean, that one description right there, it completely shatters the narrow story we're so often told about Black life in colonial America. And yet, for a man with that kind of stature, this next fact is just stunning. There is no known picture of Prince Hall. None. It's such a perfect and, frankly, sad illustration of how figures like him weren't just forgotten by accident. They were actively erased from the visual record of the very nation they helped build. But here's the thing. His impact? That can't be erased. So let's get into how he fought back. He did it by building a brand new foundation for his community, literally from the ground up. And he had a really clear strategy. It was brilliant, actually. First, he tried to use the system. He petitioned the government directly to abolish slavery, to let Black men enlist in the army, and to get schooling for Black kids who were being denied public education. But when the system failed, and it did, he didn't just give up. Nope, he just built his own system. He organized the very first school for Black children in Boston, right there in his own house. And that leads us to his most lasting creation, the African Lodge No. 1. Now, this was so much more than just a social club. This was the very first Black institution in the entire United States. Think about that. It provided mutual aid, burial services. It was a network for community access and organizing. It was a vital lifeline for a people who were systematically shut out of pretty much every other American institution. Okay, now this is where the story gets really powerful. Because Prince Hall's work, it didn't end when he died. Not even close. Let's trace the direct line from what he started all the way to the major civil rights movements that we're all familiar with today. You see, the model he created, this idea of an independent Black-led institution for mutual aid and community organizing, that became the blueprint. It was a foundation for so much that was still to come, including some of the most iconic and important organizations in American history. We're talking about the NAACP, the National Urban League, the Divine Nine, the historically Black college fraternities and sororities, even the networks of the Underground Railroad, all of them. You can trace their DNA right back to the institutional model that Prince Hall pioneered.
And check this out. In a really powerful move to correct the historical record, the Cambridge City Council posthumously declared him exactly what he was, one of this country's founding fathers. It's a modern recognition of a truth that was frankly long, long overdue. And this legacy, it gets personal too. The tradition he started, it continued through some of the most famous leaders of the 20th century civil rights movement. We're talking Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Jesse Jackson, Dr. Ralph Abernathy, Hosea Williams. All of them were part of the Prince Hall Masonic tradition. They were literally carrying his torch forward. So let's start to bring this all together. It's pretty clear that Prince Hall's story is way bigger than just one man, right? It's really about the vital mission of telling a more complete, more honest story of America. And what this shows us is this really powerful cycle. See, when we recover these lost stories of nation builders, it restores cultural pride and identity. When we understand how they organize their communities, it inspires new leadership today. Reclaiming the past, it directly empowers the present. It's all connected. So, in the end, revealing the complete truth. It's not a passive thing. It requires all of us to actively look beyond the stories we're usually told, to seek out these hidden figures, because it's in their stories that we often find the true moral compass of America's founding ideals. And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Prince Hall is just one founder that history forgot. So the question is, who else is out there? Whose stories are still just waiting to be told? And maybe most importantly, what will we learn about ourselves when we finally reclaim them?